Hey everyone, it's Emily Graziano here, and I'm here to do a review of the Ace Frehley Anomaly album. I have it here on CD, released September 15th, 2009. This was the first Ace Frehley album to be released in my lifetime when I was 13. Now, a fun fact, when my mother was 13 in 1978, the four Kiss solo albums were released. So technically, when my mom was 13, the first ever Ace Frehley album came out. And then the first album to be released from Ace in my lifetime, I was 13. I find that super cool. Like, not everybody has that happen where it aligns like that, but it does for my mom and I. It's just facts of the universe solidifying the fact that we were meant to be Kiss fans. And well, that fact in my personal life. But this album is Ace's first album in 20 years, his first since the Trouble Walking album in 1989. The Trouble Walking album will forever have a special place in my heart. It just always will. It'll always be my fave. Almost, this is like a transition album in between like the time Ace, his first solo album after the Kiss reunion and everything, but before he signed with E1 Music, which is now Monarch Music, who he is still currently with. And then this, if you notice, this is actually the deluxe version of Anomaly, re-released by E1. They released the deluxe version. I also have it, the album on vinyl right here. Here's the back. I don't know how well you can see that, but this album's really cool because it's dedicated to three people: Eric Carr, Dimebag, Daryl, and Les Paul. Here, I'll open it here. This is the original cover of the album right here. I don't have an original copy of this album. Oh, and I also have this album on cassette, and I don't even own a cassette player, guys. I really don't. I had a Fisher-Price cassette player that I got rid of when I was like 5. I think it broke and it just had to go. And my mom's like, well, we'll get you a CD player. And I didn't get a CD player until I was like 8. So I had to go a little while without, because when we moved and everything. So, but anyway, this cassette is in a lovely shade of Space Alien Green. Really cool. And I feel like this album, it's almost a serious album. It may be the most serious album Ace has released because the number of acoustic songs and the number of personal songs and topics that he chooses to talk about on this album really says a lot about Ace and his views on life and love and sobriety. And Ace, deep down, may be a real softie at heart. I mean, the Space Ace is a softie at heart, people, and it's just adorable, I think. Very reflective album. So with that, I'll get started. The first track on here is called Foxy and Free, and it's originally called Hard for Me, which is on the deluxe version as a bonus track. Originally called Hard for Me. Here's something interesting. The record company apparently made Ace change the lyrics because they thought the original lyrics were too racy. And I'll talk about it more when we get to the lyrics of the actual original version, but I think Foxy and Free is really fun. It's a bit spacey. It kind of shows Ace's silly side, I think, and it has his signature sound. We've got Anton Fig on the drums for a majority of this album, so that's really fun. I just love the way it's like, oh, so foxy and free. Like, I love that. Second song on here, Outer Space. This is the only song on the album, aside from the one cover version that he does on this album. This is the only original Ace song not to be solely written by Ace, because everything else he wrote all on his own. So that's interesting. This is the Ace's Back and He Told You So song. It has that Ace attitude. It's really gritty. It's fun. And it's just a really, really, like, Ace song. Like, this could be considered a signature Ace song that you would, like, when you listen to it, you feel, yeah, that's Ace. This is Ace. Only Ace could do this. So that is awesome. Third song on here, Pain in the Neck. Apparently, according to the liner notes included with this album, this is a notable track because there's a yodeling present on it. I don't know if I caught it or not, or maybe it just kind of passed me by, but they're yodeling. That's really interesting because I think it is supposed to be Ace yodeling. Who would ever imagine Ace yodeling? But then again, it's like, Ace has German ancestry, so he's just perhaps paying tribute to his relatives. This isn't my favorite song, I will admit, but it is interesting, and it is one of the bonus tracks on the deluxe version because it was originally played slower, so I'll get to that when we get to the bonus track. But yeah, Pain in the Neck, not my favorite song, but it's funny because there is a little bit of yodeling on there. Next song, a cover version of Sweet's Fox on the Run. I love this song. Ace is really, really awesome on it. It's so great. I love the way he sings it. I love the way he adds more guitar to it. I just love the way he perfected this version of the song that he did. The original version is really great, but I think Ace turned it up a notch, turned it up to 11. I just love it. It may be one of my favorites on the album. Seriously, love it. The next track on here, Genghis Khan. This is almost an instrumental. I mean, there are some lyrics like, so long, Genghis Khan, and that's kind of just repeated kind of throughout. This is one of Ace's favorite songs on the album, according to the liner notes, and he wrote it on the road. And they talked about in the liner notes how this is like, oh, this is one of the first things that's going to make this album stand out from the rest because we're going to take a turn here and put in a more acoustic sounding track that's almost an instrumental, and it's going to be 6 minutes long. And the first time I ever listened to this song, I'm like, wow, this song's really, really long. How long is it? Are there even any lyrics? What are the lyrics? So the first time I listened to it, I did not like it, but it has grown on me. I like it a lot better than I did the first time. And that's something else I want to say is that when this album was released when I was 13, I knew about it. I actually saw online, because during my limited YouTube browsing, because I could go on YouTube unsupervised, but it wasn't like I had free range of the computer. It's like, oh, Emily, yeah, you can go on the computer right now. Like, have you finished your homework? That type of thing. Well, and the answer was yes. I always had my homework finished. Always. I always knew it was up for school. But it's kind of like, well, yeah, you can have like an hour on the computer. Anyway, I knew about this album. I saw the commercial on my YouTube escapades one time. I'm like, wow, that's what Ace looks like now? Because I hadn't seen what he looked like for a while. Gene Simmons' Family Jewels was airing, so I saw Gene a lot on TV. But when I saw Ace in that little promo thing where that older guy is wearing the Trouble Walking t-shirt and it says, hey, I've been waiting for this new album for 20 years. Like, whoa, that's what Ace looks like now. And then when he did the act on the motorcycle, I lost it. I'm like, Ace is still funny at least. But I didn't get a hold of this album until very, very recently. And I listened to this album for the first time maybe 5 years ago for the first time. I don't know, it just kind of got lost in translation, and because when I was like in high school and community college, I was so focused on, okay, I have to do the assignments, I have to do the quizzes, I have to do the tests, like everything like that, and that I would just be really lazy with music and turn on like the radio, which is a big mistake. I listened to so many crappy songs, forgettable songs that it was just horrible. So Genghis Khan, yeah, the first time I listened to it, I didn't like it, but it grew on me a lot. Oh, and I actually think it's really, really interesting. Next song on here, Too Many Faces. It mentions in the liner notes, this song is almost like it was cut off from Unmasked. And at first I'm like, really? Really? And then I listened to it, and the way that Ace says, too many faces in the mirror. It's very similar to the way Paul says, "Is that you crawling up my stairs?" Like, it's very, very similar in the way that it's played. It just gives you those similar vibes, the way that the lyrics are said and how it's power poppy. It's brilliant. And I'm like, wow, oh my God. And then you further the fact that this is Ace and Anton. That's like half the lineup of the Unmasked album. All you're missing is Paul and Jean. Like, and this could have been on Unmasked. That's really, really cool. Next song on here, Change the World. This is where it starts to take a little bit of a turn, this album, and get really, really serious about topics in Ace's reflections of the past 20 years of not putting out a new album. I think this is a great message. It's actually influenced by John Lennon's legendary Imagine song. But I don't think it's my favorite, this track. But I think perhaps we all listen to this song and be reminded of its message today, especially when we live in the craziest world that I think any of us have ever lived in. I mean, if we thought 2009 was like, oh yeah, times are crazy. No. I think we wouldn't mind time traveling back to 2009, but no one will come and time travel back to 2022. No one. So, just a fact. Next song on here, Space Bear. This is the second instrumental on the album, and it's been called an aggressive love theme from Kiss. It's grittier, it's got more Ace attitude, and it's, it's got more of that punch. And subconsciously, I think I knew that, but I just couldn't put my finger on what does this sound like. You know how it's just on your mind, on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't place it. But reading that in the liner notes, it was kind of like that bingo moment. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, that's it. The bonus track on here, The Return of the Space Bear, I will talk about when we get to it, but I will say The Return of the Space Bear is a lot funnier because they insert dialogue, recreated dialogue from the Tom Snyder interview, but I'll get to that. But the Space Bear, just the instrumental track, I think it's really fun because it does remind you of Love Theme from Kiss. And again, this is Ace being away from putting out new music for 20 years. He has to put another instrumental on here to remind you, hey, remember, I'm Ace. I'm the guitar player. Remember that? Remember it. Okay, next song, A Little Below the Angels. The most personal song on this album. It's about sobriety. It's about the dangers of alcohol. It's about coming through it and being alive. The track lyrics, they speak from themselves, for themselves, sorry. And Monique Frehley is actually on this track as one of the Angel backup singers, as well as she has the spoken word exchange with Ace, and that's really cool. Ace has always said in various interviews and in his book that he has a guardian angel looking out for him, looking after him, and I believe that's absolutely true. If Ace says that he believes he has an angel looking out for him, I believe it too. I personally believe perhaps there's a guardian angel in my life, because to make it out of a Chinese orphanage, that is a miracle in itself. To survive the Chinese orphanage and then to make it out of there, to be adopted out of it, that in itself is a miracle. So I really empathetically understand what Ace means when he says that there's a guardian angel looking out for him. Seriously, I do. The next song on here, Sister. I did not know this, but this track dates back to the 90s, a 94 demo that was released in 95. It was bootlegged around that era. Originally had on the demo Richie Scarlett, Carl Cochran, and Steve Wariner. For some reason, I thought this song dated back even older than that, but apparently he was playing it on the Bad Boys tour with Peter. That's really cool that this song finally made it on the track listing of this album. And then he apparently was saying in concerts around that time, this is going to be on my next album, and lo and behold, true to his word, yes, it appeared on this album. There's some fan debate as to whether this is a superior or inferior version of the version he was playing while he was touring. I personally could not get a hold of the demo of Sister because I tried to look it up on YouTube and it brought me to the KISS FAQ forum, but unfortunately the video was removed. So I'm going to try to listen to the original version if I can find it somewhere else, but if you heard the version that Ace was playing on tour around that time, what's your opinion on that? So it'd be very interesting to know. Next track, It's a Great Life. This is another personal song for Ace, based on advice and life philosophy his father told him. It's a great life if you don't weaken. That is very interesting, and I believe, what was it? Is it true that Ace's father passed away before the recording of this album? I remember reading it in his book that his dad passed away in 2006, I think, and this album came out in 2009. And that whole act of losing your parent probably took a real heavy toll on Ace, and the fact that he has a song on this album paying tribute to his father and his philosophy of life and what he told Ace about life and how to live your life, that is just a beautiful gift on this album, and that's very cool of Ace. The next song on here, the last song on here before the bonus tracks, Fractured Quantum. It's the traditional instrumental track, and this one, it stands out, I think, because it's very acoustic, and to me, I don't know why, but I feel this song's very connected in nature. Like, you could go outside and play this song, and it would be fun background music. It's almost like the score to being outside. Like, you could go outside for a bike ride, or take a stroll, go walking, and it would just be good, like, outside music. I don't know why, but I just feel that way. Okay, next on here are the 3 bonus tracks on here. Hard for Me, which was the original version of Foxy and Free. It's instrumentally identical, but the lyrics are completely different, like, so hard for me, and instead of so foxy and free. Apparently, Ace was told that he had to change the lyrics because they were too edgy. Let me be clear. This song, the lyrics as they were originally written, would have been fine. I was listening to much worse in 2009, and had my father known that I was listening to songs like 303's Don't Trust Me, with the chorus, the way that it is, he would have put a stop to it. He didn't know, because he just didn't know, but he would have put a stop to it immediately had he known that I'd be listening to that. But if this track was on there originally, as written, and I played it, he wouldn't have cared. He'd be like, okay, whatever. But, so, the fact that the record company said the lyrics were too racy, I don't understand that, because there were much worse out there. Second song on here, Pain in the Neck, the slower version, the second bonus track. This version is slower, but I think it's more groovy. It has, I think because it is slower, you get more of the feeling. I don't know if that's the correct way to describe it, but I just feel like you get more passion within the guitar playing. I don't know. That's just the way I interpret it. Just my interpretation. And the last song on here, Return of the Space Bear. This is just a funny track because it's identical to the Space Bear instrumental, but they recreate dialogue from the Tom Snyder show, and it's hysterical. They have like voices, stand-in voices for Tom Snyder, and I think even Gene has a stand-in line. And this is just Ace's sense of humor. This is Ace acknowledging the fact the Tom Snyder interview happened, unlike Paul and Gene, who probably dismiss it. And this is because this came out like a month before Sonic Boom, I think this is Ace, and I don't know if that was planned or Ace even knew about Sonic Boom, I'm not sure, but this I feel is like a jab to Paul and Jean and Tommy mainly. Like, this is the real Space Ace. Like, take this, Tommy. You'll never be as legendary as this. You'll never have answers on a talk show that will match the high caliber that I gave in 1979. Or no, 78, sorry. 78. But, No, wait, no. It was... Guys, I'm losing my mind. I think it was 79, because they were promoting the Dynasty album. I think. Oh my god, am I losing my mind? People, I'm so sorry. But anyway, I thought it was hysterical, and the way that Ace recreates those lines and has the same humor and lightness, lightheartedness about it, where he can look back and laugh at himself. That is just the best part of this album. And I was very, very happy that it turned out to be a bonus track on here, because for the longest time it was only available digitally, but the fact that it's finally on the physical copy, I was really psyched about that, because I did listen to Space Bear. That was the first track that I listened to off this album online. I'm like, this is hysterical. Why didn't I know about this sooner? So, yep, everybody, Anomaly, first album to be released by Ace in my lifetime. Really, really cool, and I want to say that I'm really, really lucky that I was able to obtain 3 different formats of this album, because, you know, that's pretty hard. So I want to say thank you so much for listening to my review. Thank you. I do have Space Invader up next to review eventually. But I want to say thank you for listening to this. I'm Emily Graziano, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.